All right. Good morning. Hey now. Got our coffee. I've got my death wish. Oh, let me get rid of this windshield here. I got my death wish coffee. What's up? Oh, what a world. What a world. Pretty quiet weekend. Oh, wait, no, the Super Bowl happened. Isn't that like that's probably the topic that everybody should talk about. So YouTube analytics are like, he's going to talk about the Super Bowl. It was a good game. It was a great game. Down to the last minute, it had drama, it had action, it had back and forth, it had everything that you need for entertainment. Did you guys see the whole deal? Like, supposedly Biden had tweeted something about just like it was planned or something like that. Like, great game, just like he was like leading to like he rigged the game or something. I don't know. Sometimes these ridiculous interwebs can get annoying. Now, I will say this: I've been accused of being all doomy and gloomy, and let me go back a little bit. Let me excite you with this dumb story, okay? So, something to ponder for yourself. Sometimes you think you're a better person in your head than you are what energy you're putting out, right? So let me give you an example. So when I first got on Facebook, I thought I was a more positive, like I wanted to be a more positive poster. It was before the internet was really kind of a dumpster fire. It was still new. Social media was still new. We're trying to figure out the new game. From the MySpace days. Yes, if you can't tell by the beard, I had a MySpace page. And we'll get to trucking here in a minute. Just be patient. So, anyways, I thought I was more upbeat, right? And then one of my friends was like, "Man, why is Steve so negative?" Like he ran into my wife somewhere and was like, "Man, he's a negative person." I was like, "Man, I'm not that negative." And so now that Facebook memories exist, every time I log into Facebook, there's the Facebook memories, and you know what? My friend was right. I was kind of a down person. I was kind of down. And so it's a good reflection of but in my head, I thought I was cool. In my head, I thought I was all that. But obviously I wasn't. I was putting out some bad energy. So it's interesting to watch the Facebook memories and look at my old mindsets that, probably led me to the problems that I have now. So, life is about choices. Circumstances beyond their control happen. But here's the thing, though. Here's what I'm trying to concentrate on, and it's difficult. I sit there and I tell everybody, look, you need to be prepared for the ups and downs. If you want to be a truck driver, I don't care if you're company, owner op, lease op, contract, spot, doesn't matter. Trucking is life, right? Life is going to throw crap at you. Life is going to complacency, basically complacency and comfort can kill. Either slowly or quickly, right? And we are all meant to struggle. That's what life is you struggle and you get better at struggling and you get more prepared at struggling. So yeah, there's a lot of elements that are coming down the line with this year, with the elections and with the political climate and with the fuel and with the, all that stuff. But here's the deal. None of it is in your control. How many of you are sitting here like, man, if the rates would just come up, man, I can make it. I can make it. Well, the problem isn't the rates. The problem is what's what is the rate being low magnifying? Concentrate on that, because what if the rates don't come up, right? Just like when the rates are really high, you should have been asking, what happens if these rates don't exist? How can my business survive? And so if you sit there and you buy a truck with the 6-year note and you think, okay, if the rates stay like this, man, I should be good, right? But they're not. They're not going to. You have no control over it. What you do have control is what platform of freight you want to do, how you search for your freight, getting into the areas that do support a big truck payment. Trying to insulate yourself from the ups and downs of the market, which is even contract has its ups and downs. Ask anybody who's quoted, some RFPs here lately. A lot of brokers are scrambling right now because they've underbid everybody, and now they can't find trucks to move their freight, so they're freaking out, and they're taking losses. And then you got big companies like C.H. Robinson and Coyote that the bigwigs don't really understand the situation. Meanwhile, the troops on the ground are like, "Hey, man, this is not going to work." And then, but computer AI will solve everything. See, none of that you have control over. None of it. And so, what do you have control over? And that's what you need to focus on. And I've been bad about that. I've been bad about dwelling on the negative. And if I come across that way, I apologize. Because I don't mean to. Because in my head, I'm like, I'm a happy dude. No, Steve, you're the guy that is scaring people. You're the guy that's making people think twice. But maybe they need to think twice. That's kind of where my head's at. So if you're sitting there hoping that the rates come back up because that's what's going to rescue your business, that's a negative place to be. You should always be thinking, well, what if they don't? And that's these people, like they come into the spot market. We attract the drivers that don't want to be micromanaged. That's the whole thing with Schneider and Prime and all them. They micromanage you. Do you know why they micromanage you? Because a lot of drivers don't micromanage themselves. And that's what you have to have the ability to be able to do. And if you're sitting there making a truck payment with no control of where you go, how you go, and it could be because you have a dispatcher. It could be because you're not allowed to bring the truck anywhere you want. It's got to stay tied to that company. Or it could be because your truck payment's so high that you have to be out. And family does not come first. That's a tough spot to be in as well. So do you truly have freedom if you have a $5,000 a month truck note? Well, it depends. Depends on what your gross and net and all that stuff. And it's just basic math. It's all it is. But being prepared for everything. Because, I had a few advantages. My dad was an owner-operator. And I got to see his struggles. And he struggled with money management. And he struggled with repairs. He struggled with all the stuff that it's not too far removed from what truck drivers deal with today. It wasn't as volatile, but when you look at, ask any old timer, ask any guy that was in the truck, in the late 70s, early 80s, and they'll tell you how much the industry has changed. It's almost unrecognizable. It's almost unrecognizable. And I remember my father-in-law, who was he was a roadway guy, basic freight truck. He saw the inside of my truck and he was like, "Wow, this is like it's like the space shuttle." I mean, that's just how much has changed. The e-logs, everything else. And so change is inevitable. So what are you going to do if fuel goes up? There's articles out there that says fuel's going to spike. There's articles out there that there's going to be shortages of things. And what are you going to do for those situations? At the end of the day, it's about family. It's about what works best for you and your family. Barring a black swan event, you should be prepared for almost anything, because it's kind of like I remember back when I was making minimum wage as a restaurant worker, and there'd be something I'd want to buy, and I'd be like, oh man, if once I get my tax return, man, I'm gonna buy that, and there was a couple of years where it didn't happen. There were people like, well, I can pay rent if I get my tax return. I can make this car repair if I get my tax return. Well, I know people in the big truck world that are saying the same thing. If the rates would just come up, man, I'll be okay. If fuel will just go down another $1 a gallon, well, man, I'll be swimming in money. No, how about the fact that your truck doesn't get good fuel mileage? Maybe fix that part, so it doesn't matter if fuel's up or down. Some people want high fuel. Why? Because they get a bigger fuel surcharge from their company. See, it's all about perspective. So be prepared for anything. Not everything, but most things, right? As much as you possibly can. What you can control. If they decide to make diesel, $6 a gallon nationwide, you can't control that. You can get on the internet and get your Let's Go Brandon t-shirts or whatever, and but is it going to do any good? No. All it's going to do is stress you out and give you a heart attack because of them seed oils. So, I mean, tolls are going up every year. You have no control. That pothole that just took your rear trailer, inner front, tire out, that should have been fixed because I pay more in tolls or I pay more in taxes. Well, guess what? It wasn't. So maybe you should have tried to swerve if you could have to get away from that pothole. So I feel like my live feeds are redundant. And so, but again, I'm thinking I'm more positive in my head than I actually am. So, I haven't been able to watch one of my live streams in forever. That's why I'm not great or consistent at cutting up the videos and turning them into shorter length videos. Like Timcast does. I'm not good at that. I need an editor because I hate listening to myself. I really do. It's a problem, right? Because I've got something going on in my head that's not coming out. I'll tell my wife all the time that I'm not great at explaining what I'm trying to explain because I'm not good at. There's a miscommunication between my brain and my mouth, right? But anyways, I got coffee, and that's going to help, right? No room for this cup. We'll put it on the printer and hope it doesn't fall. I've got another printer in the works. All right. So, let's go over comments here. Desert Okie Pam, good morning. TK, good morning. I talked to your guys' boss the other day. Looks like Trucker Todd's trailer is doing okay. Jerome Jones, good morning, everyone. Mark, what's up? Grafton with the emojis of coffee, thumbs up, and cool. Mr. Roden, good evening from Cambodia. Man, you are definitely living it up. Man, you guys are, and I've got that song in my head. One night and then. Now Cambodia, there's another song for that. I forget the original group that did it, but Laz Rocket did a cover of it. But Holiday in Cambodia, that's a great song. That's what that reminds me of. So it's an interesting place to be. Scorpion Trucker, good morning, Snorelord. Everyone from a clear Oklahoma City, heading west towards Arizona with coffee in hand. Cheers. So here's the thing. So Scorpion did a video last night. It was snowing like crazy in Oklahoma City, and it's a big wet flakes, you know. And it was heading to Missouri. We were supposed to be getting it by now. So on the way home from the gym, that's when it really started. It's not sticking to the roads. It's 35 degrees, so that's good. It is sticking on the grass because of the volume. But yeah, Scorpion Trucker trying to warn us Missourians ahead of time. Be safe out there, my friend. Tolga, what's up? Oh, and Scorpion, next time we talk, I'll give you some impromptu lessons on live streaming from the YouTube app. Tolga, what's up? Salute, salute. DIY Semi, howdy. Quick hit, what's up? I want trucking and I want it now. Shannon also called me this morning. She broke one of my golden rules about lumpers. Hopefully she'll get her money back. Trucking with T-Bone, good morning. Gary Cook, good morning. Happy Monday. Howard Stern of the Interstate. No. That title is for someone else. That title is not mine. That is for, like people like to call that for Mr. Best. I don't quite get as controversial as that. And to be honest with you, I don't take Howard Stern as a compliment. But I can do the hey now. So, good morning from snow-covered Lubbock. Yes, I heard. So a friend of mine, he posted from I-40 westbound there near Amarillo, and it was shut down. He was stopped on the interstate. So yeah, it's been, you know, that weather's coming through, right? And I know Arizona's been kind of jacked up, so as well. My business model is set at $1 per mile profit. Thanks to Cash is King. I'm glad I listened to him. There you go, Mark. Taking the good advice. Snorelord OG, good morning. And Snat Chat, hello, everyone. Grind and Pray, what's up, man? It was wise to set your business up to handle the worst case scenario. I learned that from you and Jeff. Thank you. Well, you're welcome. And I'll give you another example, right? So, and this is where family has to kick in. See, so everybody like does their expenses. If you're doing rate per day or rate per mile, let's do both, because, you know, I'm not the guy that's going to argue one's better than the other. But here's the thing. So rate per mile is based on mile volume. You know, so you can sit there, well, my cost is X amount per mile at 10,000 miles a month. Okay, so obviously there's a workload there, or 12,000 or 8,000, or however you want to do it. Rate per day is based off of how many days you want to work. So let's say 20, 25, or some people think they can work 30 days a month consistently, indefinitely, but that's not true. And here's a perfect example. So I know a driver that his truck was in the shop. It got repaired. He didn't get the truck back until Tuesday afternoon. He lives in a not a great freight area, and he had to be back in like 3 days. Well, it wasn't happening. There was literally nothing on the board that was going to do that, not without it turning into a round trip and making it 90 cents a mile through the mountains. That didn't make sense, right? And so he basically essentially lost the whole week. Now, the reason why he needed to be home was important. It was important. His family needed him. And so sometimes it's not the truck. Sometimes, you know, now if he had a high truck payment, if he had, and if he had a high truck payment, he wouldn't been able to make that choice. He would be like, okay, I guess I'm leaving, and I'm not coming home for a couple of weeks. Right? And that's why these lease deals, you know, like Prime, Schneider, and all them are weekly, because they want that pressure so you can make that truck payment. And so when you put yourself in that situation, now if you handle that, that's fine. Whatever floats your boat. But what I'm saying is sometimes there are things that go beyond the truck, that go beyond the business, that require your attention, that creates downtime. You could have the most spotless, perfect truck that runs perfectly in the perfect weather all the time, but, maybe you have a death in the family. Maybe you have a family reunion to go to. Or maybe just something happens. Maybe your health turns sour. And so it's not just those things that. Now it's good to own the truck, so you can make that. Well, I guess I'm staying home for the rest of the week. It's good to have that. If your truck's paid off and you got money in the bank for maintenance repair, you can make that decision, and that's the beauty of being at a carrier like trucking. You can make those decisions. So it just depends on how you want to do it. And the expenses never stop. So if you're doing a rate per mile and you don't get those 10,000 miles, or you don't get those 8,000 miles, then that's the same thing. Maybe this was a 10-day month instead of a 20-day month. So, or a 25-day month. Okay, I'm behind on bills, so now it's got to be a 30-day month. Well, what if something happens at home? What if your truck takes a dump? Right? There's all these different factors that a lot of people don't think about. It goes beyond, and this stuff happens whether you've got good rates or bad rates, whether there's great volumes or low volumes. And it doesn't matter what platform you're on. You could be flatbed, tanker, all of that. And that's what a lot of people aren't prepared to notice, because they don't realize just how volatile having a trucking business has. It's like when if you're a company driver and your dispatcher says, "Hey, I need you out," and you go, "Well, screw you, dude. I want to stay home for 3 days." Well, guess what? They're going to put you at the bottom of the list, and you're not going to make any money. Why? Because that truck has to move. They got to make those bills. They got to make that payment. Gary Cook, the question you should be asking is, how much do I need to make ends meet? Maybe the rates are there. Yes, that is an intelligent question. See, but that goes to perception. You're looking at a situation and you're asking different questions than what the masses are asking. So, Grind to Pay saying hi to DIY. Unrecognizable. Are you serious? There are many aspects of the trucking industry that are unrecognizable from somebody that from the 70s and 80s. Yes. Yes, I am serious. There's a lot of changes that some old timers are like, "No, I'm out. I'm done." They wouldn't know how to handle the collision mitigation. They wouldn't know how to handle e-logs. They wouldn't know how to handle the lack of parking. They wouldn't, the trucks are so comfortable that they would be lulled to sleep compared to an old freight truck. Randy says, good morning from San Marcos, Texas. I've been there a couple of times. DIY says hi to Kevin. Josh, what's up? Snorelord facts, stay ready, prepared, never have to get ready, right? A decent 12-volt diesel pump and a long hose mitigates high fuel costs pretty well. James G, what's up? We down 1,000 ICs from this time last February. Wow. Is that a rumor or is that legit, Sean? So that's good news for you, right? Less competition, right? Is it easier to find a load now? Or has Schneider made that up in the company side? I'm kind of wondering. I'm legitimately wondering if that's helping you. Because I know Landstar's down quite a bit too. They're down like about 3,000 or 4,000 owner-operators. So. Hellman Trucking, what's up? Good morning. Tolga says, I actually Actually, I always found your conversation and voice quite soothing, Snorelord. You should see yourself like that. I appreciate that, Tolga. I try, but I wasn't always like this. I mean, my old live feeds are horrible. I absolutely just despise them. And I was all, dude, I used to, man, I have anger issues. I really do. You know, I slammed my fist on this desk just the other day because something wasn't cooperating. And my dog, you know, he gets all scared and everybody closes the doors and is like, "Dad's in a rage," you know. And again, you know, my rage came out in the death metal world. You know, I was a singer and guitarist for a death metal band, and that's how I got my aggression out. And I've learned to be more stoic about things. I've learned to be more at peace about things. You know, I learned to be more, gratitude was a harsh lesson I had to learn the hard way. And so these are just what you're seeing as a progression, Tolga, and I appreciate the compliment. Ratman says, I do have an excellent radio voice. It's the microphone. The microphone is like, it's a microphone, but I appreciate that, Ratman. But I don't see a radio. I say too much for like legit radio. Like no one listens to that anyways. See, Tolga, everybody saying hi, blah, blah, blah. Look who's back. Yeah, that's right. I'm back, boss. Missouri to anywhere. Green tomorrow drive van. See, so WCF Invader, he had a legit contract thing going on, and guess what? Somebody underbid him. So seems like every 3 or 4 weeks, somebody comes in, underbids them. They give him crappy service, so they come crawling back to him. And it's so he's got his own little fluctuations. He's got his own little. See, there's the roller coaster going on. And it's hard. And he's got, look, family's first with him too, man. He's got a legitimate small window that he works in, and he works well at it. Every now and then I'm able to help him out. So, Gen Z, morning. Jose, what's up? Legit? That's legit. Well, good. So, let's see here. Rock and Robin, I miss being independent, mainly an ego thing, but I will say I'm extremely happy with the carrier I'm driving for as company driver. Good deal. Good deal. Company side gets him. Yep, that's what I figured. Schneider low board is crap right now, Hellman. Yeah, that's what I keep seeing on Facebook. I'd be interested in the. I know the areas that Sean runs. Which areas do you run? Because I'm thinking that there are certain areas you could stay in, and maybe the volumes aren't as bad. But I don't know. I don't have access to that load board. I wish I did. Now, a lot of the Schneider guys that say that these loads are going on the spot market, that there might be some truth to that, but the reality is that the majority of Schneider loads in the spot market are lower priced than what you guys are probably doing them for. Or it's in areas where they know they don't have any freight coming out, or it's a situation that they don't want to even deal with. And so it's not like everybody's, raking it in with taking the freight from you. Now, it is interesting that, well, no, I won't get into that. But anyways, hopefully it gets better for you, Hellman and Sean. I can use an IC under my authority. There you go. Someone contact James Shee. He's got some dedicated freight. CDN, good morning, Steve. I'm working remotely this week, trying to work bare bone essentials so I can enjoy this hot weather in Los Cabos, Mexico. Have a great day. Interesting, CDN. Congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs. Yep. Is the gym routine becoming normal? Yes, it is. I went today. Where I struggle is trying to get there early as possible. That's why I was a little bit late today. I need to be a little bit more disciplined try to get as early as I possibly can. Scorpion helped me out yesterday, so I needed to be home by 9, and he contacted me Friday night. He was like, "Hey, man, if you're going to the gym tomorrow, would it be cool if I came along? We're like, absolutely, because I can have a guest. So, Saturday or Sunday morning, I'm like, oh man, it's cold outside. I should probably just sleep in. I almost texted him and said, man, dude, I'm not picking you up. And I thought, no, let's do it, right? So I got dressed, got my shoes on, I'm sitting there ready to go. I got my jacket on. I got my satchel with all my crap in it, and I text him, hey, are you ready? No, I'm not showing up. I'm like, oh, okay. He didn't sleep well, which is fine. So I'm sitting there like, well, I'm already dressed, ready to go. It'd be stupid if I just took all, if I just undid all this. So I went anyways, and I was there right when the gym opened, and it was neat. And so it was a great start for the day, because I knew that during the Super Bowl we'd be eating food and watching the game, and so it made the day feel better. But yes, I'm at a point, Road Ratman, where I'm actually looking forward to it, because it's kind of musical therapy for me. Because I don't, there are times when I don't have a lot of music going on. I'm either on the interweb, dealing with loads and dealing with brokers. So I might have some music in the background going, but for the most part, with my phone ringing all the time and all that, I don't get that. And then when I decompress afterwards, I'm usually just reading or watching. I can't listen to music and read at the same time. Something about my brain says it's not possible. And so, and it was me just listening to music, not moving, going, you know what, this is dumb. I should probably be moving while I'm listening to music. And so it sounds stupid, but it's made me almost like it's become like I'm working from home. Definitely helps on this too. So, but yes, it's become part of a normal routine I've got. So I've only missed one day since I've started in February, beginning of February. Almond Chimera, what's up? Sean, Ohio to PA Circle, rest junk. Yes, I agree with you. That's probably the best. Michigan, Ohio, Illinois, Indiana. I used to run the Glendale, West Virginia runs all the time from St. Louis. That was a good run. It was empty oil bottles. The dock was a bit of a pain, but beyond that, and then I usually just deadheaded to New Concord to get a load out. I didn't go into PA. James G, did UPS put Coyote up for sale? I don't know. I haven't kept up on that. I do know that Coyote's got like a lot of stuff for not very great rates on their board right now, so I don't know if they're even paying attention to that. I was running PA to Georgia and Ohio to Georgia, now Ohio to Dallas, but finding anything out of Dallas is hard. Yes, especially this time of year. It should pick up, Hellman, as spring comes along and drivers are not afraid to go north anymore, but Texas always takes a dump in the Schneider world because of the weather. So, if you live in Arkansas, yeah, so if you're not near Little Rock or Conway or Rogers, it's a bit difficult, right? If you're living in the middle of nowhere, or maybe Memphis. So it depends on if you're in eastern Arkansas, you got the Memphis market. If you've got, if you're northwest Arkansas, which I'm familiar with, then yeah, there's not much there. You're basically going in and out of Bentonville all the time. Such an amazing transformation from the guy I met a couple of years ago to the professional you are today. Proud of you, young man. Thank you, Ratman. I appreciate that. You're very encouraging. You've always been a good friend. I appreciate you. Great job on making it to the gym. Thank you, CDN. It's, I sit there and like, man, so here's the deal. I knew that being at home, not having my truck anymore, I knew that I didn't want to live in perpetual Saturday. And work kind of comes and goes, the safety thing is always there, but sometimes the guys aren't running. Sometimes there's nothing to look at really. And then other times, we've got 3 emergencies to deal with at one time. So it goes from feast to famine. So I'm used to that. That's kind of how I've always lived. Even when I was a line cook, it's like, oh, it's dead right now. Next thing you know, 20 people come in and boom, you got to make those orders, right? It's very similar. So I had to create a routine. And so for the last 2 years, I've been doing this routine of getting up between 4 and 5. Naturally, I'm not using an alarm. I mean, my wife's alarm goes off now, but, because she goes to work earlier. And then 7 a.m., I fire up this computer. Every now and then I'll fire it up early because the driver needs something. And then at about 5 o'clock, the brokers have all gone home. They stopped answering emails and phone calls. Drivers don't need anything. I shut the computer off. If I need to look at something safety-wise, I can. Sometimes I don't shut it off till 6, and then, then I have a night routine I deal with. And so if so it's like, well, it's easy to incorporate the gym because now I have to go somewhere. Now I have to leave the house. And so that kind of, I don't know, it wakes you up. But I knew that I didn't want to live in perpetual Saturday, which is what, the vid did with a lot of, like, school-age children were very damaged during the shutdowns when you couldn't go to school. I mean, they were living in perpetual Saturday. And that's why I think that exacerbated a lot of problems that we're seeing right now. So, good musicians cannot passively listen to music. Exactly, Gen Z. That is true. So, do you think that Coyote is still safe to use? I'm unsure, so I was avoiding them. No more brokers are hosing me if I can help it. What I would do, I would, since you don't factor, I would definitely utilize their quick pay. I wouldn't leave it up to the 30 days if you can help it. So there's no telling. I don't think they're going to go bankrupt. I think they're just trying to cut them separate. And because of the market, I don't know if anybody's going to bite. So UPS would have to go bankrupt for you to not get your money. But I would definitely be on the quick pay if you possibly could. That makes it, if anything, it'll make you feel better, right? You're 20 minutes from Harrison. Okay, so you're probably utilizing, well, you're Schneider, though. So, say in the spot, so it depends on what direction 20 minutes you're at. If you're near, like, Flippin and all that, you're probably going up to Springfield for loads. Well, that's the spot market, though. So, I don't know what the Schneider... Back when I was at Schneider, I was predominantly pulling loads out of that drop lot in Lowell that were relays, or I was picking up loads in Bolivar. Very rarely was I picking up in Springfield. But it was predominantly like I don't know if they got that. I don't remember going into Harrison that much. So, yeah, that is a tough spot. So, yeah, good luck to you. So, all right. Let us look at some low board stuff. Actually, let's look at the weather real quick. Let's do that first. See where all the warnings are at. We're almost done with this winter stuff, people. Oh, look at that. Share screen. Share. There you go. Look at that. Look at bullseye, Missouri right there. Actually, we're in the pink, which is better than the purple. So it is going to get cold tonight. So as this progresses, that could be hazardous to the roads. But look at the west; it's kind of quiet, except for your normal areas. So that's probably a nice relief if you're driving out west. But then looks like Pennsylvania and southern New York is doing its thing. Of course, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, and all that jazz. Let's see what this green is here. Flood watch. Oh, yeah. A lot of, yeah, that's nothing. No. This stuff doesn't really bother me. You know, you grow up in the Midwest, you're not afraid of this kind of weather. But let's see what this red stuff is. Oh, flash flood. So, yeah, you've got a bit of a water issue. Other than that, it's fairly quiet. And then, high winds here in Texas, Panhandle. I-40 is always a pain in the butt. But pretty quiet nonetheless, so that's good. Let's see. Let's check load availability. I usually go Rogers or Jonesboro. Oh, yeah, I forgot about Jonesboro. You got the Frito-Lay down there. A couple other things. So, yeah, that puts you basically that's the Memphis market. So, grind and pray. Heavy rain, downpours, Georgia right now outside of Atlanta. Drivers, be careful. Yes. James C., there's a bunch of speculation that it's for sale, but like any other publicly traded company, it's all hush-hush. So the investors are all moving their money around, but as far as general public knows, it's all hush-hush. Who knows? It doesn't really matter, really, other than, get your quick pay if you do a Coyote load. And if your factoring company, we're good. They just paid a bunch of debt down with Thunder, so we've been able to book a little bit better with Coyote, but they're going to start losing volumes. They're going to start losing volumes until they sort it all out with shippers. So it's and that was what was happening with Convoy before they went out. I noticed that areas that used to have 100 loads now had like 12. And I'm starting to see the same thing with Uber. So you just got to be careful with these digital freight brokers. And just pay attention to their volumes. If you see their volumes going down quite a bit and they're not budging on their bid rates, then buyer beware. I'm not saying don't use them. I'm just saying just be aware. Just be careful. If I was doing like a $4,000 load with Coyote, I would want the quick pay. If it's like $800 or $900, maybe not so much, but anyways, it'd probably be all right. But and that's where the factoring does come in if you got access to credit checks. I know a couple of people are working on something that doesn't require factoring service to do your credit checks, which would be very good. So yeah, just be careful with that. So let's go to Van. Apply. Well, Arkansas is lit up. Last week it was red or yellow. So let's see what's going on in Arkansas. Let's go check that out. If I see a big change, I want to know why. And I'm going to guess it's a lot of mulch. And without even looking at this, I'm going to guess it's a lot of mulch. A lot of lawn and garden stuff. Your lawn and garden stuff should be shipping right now. Bricks, mulch, power units like tractors, lawnmowers and stuff like that. And there's a lot of paper. A lot of paper is moving. So let's take a look here. Let's sort this by highest rate. Oh, look, $25 a mile. $12,275 go from Conway, Arkansas to Brookshire, Texas. There you go. Here's your load. Go get it. Cost per day reached. Yes. Obviously, this is a typo. They're probably wanted it at 1,200 or 1,200, not 12,000. Or they did that on purpose so they're at the top of the thing because this thing needs to move today. It's actually picking up tomorrow. Yeah, today's the 12th. Yesterday was my dad's birthday. He would have, I don't know if he would have watched the Super Bowl with me, but anyways. So, yeah. Do this load once, you're good for the month. Let's see. More realistic, we have Jonesboro to Everett, Washington. They're at $4,400. $2 a mile to go to Washington. Let's see what this looks like here. Picks up today, so picks up at 9 p.m. Delivers the 16th, which is Friday, at 6 a.m. So it's kind of a bit of a drive there. Dry set temp per BOL. Picks up 2100. So what's the weight on this? 43.5. So yeah, I'm not sure what the product is. I know that there's a Frito-Lay out there in Jonesboro, but I know there's other shippers as well. They're right around where Cargo Chiefs got it, so they need this moved. So California, Utah. Here's one going to Utah, 33.50, 231 a mile from Conway. 40,000 pounds. Picks up at 2 o'clock today. So a lot of last minute stuff going on. But the interesting thing about this is the weather. Because remember, you know, you might have to drive through some of that. Let's see, Rhode Island, California, Philadelphia. So let's do this by highest. Let's do this by highest rate per mile. See where all the short stuff is. Of course, you know our $12,000 loads up there. Mark Tree to Olive Branch, a couple of those for $350. Marietta, Arkansas to Memphis. $281. The problem with this load here, if it's a straight through delivery, you know, it's only 64 miles. If it's a straight through delivery with no issues, if you know the customer, then, you know, it might be okay, but you know, if you could do 2 or 3 of those a day, but I don't know, I'd still want a little bit more for that. Dumas, Arkansas to Memphis, 796. Fort Smith to Dallas. That's not a bad rate. They're actually starting to pay to go into Dallas again. Fort Smith to Joplin. Here's your load right here. Fort Smith was another Schneider area, I believe. Or used to be. I don't know, it's might have changed since then. Fort Smith picks up at 1. This is not until Thursday. So if you call on this, they're not going to negotiate the rate. Simply because it's too far in advance. Meanwhile, Cargo Chiefs got it at 583. So if you're going to want 600 or 700 for this, which is what I would want, I don't know if I'd even bother calling on that one. Couple going to Ardmore, which puts you in the Dallas market, and then 273 a mile to go from Stuttgart to Arcadia, Florida. That's going to be rice or food product. Picks up at 1:15 today, delivers Wednesday, 7:15 a.m. So 953 miles. Not a bad trip. You got some woods to go through for a minute, but once you get down to 55, you're golden. They're at 26. Cargo Chiefs got it 23, so they need this moved, so that's good. But then you're going pretty far south into Florida, so just be aware of that. But you shouldn't have any weather issues going down there. Then 249 to go to Philly. So let's take these 2 loads. You got Wiener, Arkansas going to Philadelphia for $249 a mile or $26.50. And then you got Springdale, Arkansas to Brooksville, Florida, $2,600 for $248 a mile, basically a penny less. Which load do you think would be more money, right, on the net side? Right, so let's take a look at Philly. 44,000 pounds, so it's heavier. The other one's at 39. This one picks up at 1230. So you should be landing, if in Philly on Wednesday. Yep, that's what it says. You're going to burn more fuel, and your fuel costs are going to be higher, and you've got $108 in tolls. Whereas if you take this Florida load, it's lighter. Toll cost is 0. So you're going to get better fuel mileage. It's a little bit more miles. Not by much. About 100 miles more. And it's not that deep into Florida. But then coming out, you're going to take your hit. So which load is going to pay you more per day? You know, that's something you have to kind of take into consideration. Which one will net you more money? Well, Philly obviously is going to be a better market, but you take a hit out of Philly as well. So it just depends, you know, and then you have the issue of weather. You might run into that. So I would be more inclined to take this load knowing that I have a system of how I get out of Florida, because I'm going to net more on this load, even though it pays a little bit less and it's a few more miles. So your rate per mile is lower, but in reality, you're probably going to net a little bit more because you're not paying as much in fuel, and you're not paying as much as tolls, even when you take your hit coming out, because you still take a hit out of Pennsylvania. And they're not much different. You just have more volume in Pennsylvania than you do out of, you know, mid-Florida. So that's something to consider, right? That's something, you know, that's how I always looked at it. Now, if the driver loves the Northeast or lives in Pennsylvania, then obviously we're going to take the Philly run. But I want it as light as possible to minimize the damage on the fuel cost and your tolls. So now, if we sort this by posted date, pickup date, quite a few things for today, so that's good. So that tells me there's a lot of last minute load postings. So a lot for today, quite a bit. So Moet says, "How's it going, Steve? I love the short live you put up Friday. And how was dinner?" It was good. It was like the shortest live feed ever. It was 2 minutes and 53 seconds, I believe. But yeah, Scorpion and I, we had Mexican food. And there's a great Mexican place right outside of Stratford there that's pretty good. So it was good. Just out of curiosity, I've been wanting to ask you, why do people choose to be an owner-operator in today's economy instead of a company driver? That is a great question, Almond. Before I get to that, though, let me go. Provost says Brooksville is a crapshoot, slow Walmart DC. And so taking that, so he knows the customer, right? So you take that into consideration. And so if I called on both those loads, I would say, okay, let's ask about the Philadelphia. So because lost time can cost you just as much as, you know, fuel and tolls. So that's a good thing. Now, Provost lives in Florida, but he's not afraid of the Northeast either. So which one would Provost do? But back to your question, Alman. A lot of it is speculation of money, right? When an owner operator says, "Hey, I grossed $140,000 this year," they think that that's what they're making, right? Like, and I'll give you a perfect example. I've been guilty of this. So when I bought my first truck, my first load I ever did for Landstar paid $700 for 100 miles. And I'm sitting there thinking, man, for as much as I made as a company driver in 1 week, I'm going to do it in one run. Man, how good is this? And what I actually made was negative $300 because of fuel, because of downtime, because it was delivered on a Saturday, and I didn't realize you couldn't find a load on a. It was hard to find a load on a weekend at Landstar, and then all the takeouts from, the insurance and all that stuff that Landstar was starting to take out. So reality set in right there. Is like, maybe you ought to pay attention, dude. And so a lot of these influencers and the owner operator think like, oh, you see something for like $5 a mile, like, wow, I'm only making 60 cents a mile, man. Not realizing that your check engine light could cost you thousands upon thousands of dollars. And so it's kind of more of an emotional response for some people. And then a lot of these big fleets, they want to convince you to be owner operators because now you're paying the bills that they don't have to pay to move their freight. So so that's one way to look at it. Now, as far as the economy, there was a time where being an owner operator was a better option than being a company driver. But what happened was, take a look at Walmart. What did Walmart do? Walmart upped their annual salary by quite a bit, knowing that owner operators were going to start to struggle, knowing that owner operators, which is who they wanted, because these are the people that are going to be more likely to love the steady paycheck and take care of their trucks and have the experience to go in their places, right? It's not a coincidence that they decided to up their annual salary when they knew that owner operators were going to start losing their trucks. So the economy, but here's the thing, if you buy low and sell high, you look at the market, you're like, well, it's a good time to buy a truck because I can get them cheaper now. But you have to look at the economy. You have to look at what things are costing: repairs, fuel, food. Food on the road can be like $300 or $400 a month, if not more, especially if you're not cooking in the truck. But it's an emotional response. People don't put their plans out. So, it just depends. Some people like the freedom and the you have to have kind of an entrepreneur kind of mindset to be able to, like, you know what? There's no security in this. I'm going to go for it. And so, but then other people convince you that you have that spirit when you actually don't. So it's a give and take, right? But yes, in today's economy, it is more of a struggle. But it's the external costs that you really don't have a control over. Is not as much as you think, or not as much as you need to. So. Mr. Charles, good morning. Stuttgart has ACs too. Those would be good because those are light. So, looking like the spot market is better than Schneider in my area. So, but you have to consider this, Hellman. When you look at a load for $1,000 on Schneider, they've already taken their percentage out. When you look at a load on the spot, you gotta deduct your percentage of whatever carrier. If you want to come over here, you can apply. But I encourage you to look at the rates and do the math to make sure that what is it better or worse than what you're doing now. The math is important. There are people that like, oh, I'm getting $1,000. Why I'm only getting $800 for this load at Schneider. Well, guess what? After like our cut, at like trucking, we're an 80-20 company. You're getting $800. Now, if you're at a situation where maybe they're at 98% and they're charging the fee, you got to deduct that fee as well. So it just depends on how you look at it. The math is important. People may also like the challenge game of owner-operator. Not everyone wants to just punch the time clock. That is true. I think I mentioned that. You have to have that kind of spirit about you. And it's tough to go back to punching a clock if when you are an owner for so long. Facts: a lot of folks don't realize all expenses owner-operators have plus high home overhead, not knowing what their true numbers are needed, right? My last Hardee's review, burger was very filling and good. Bread was slightly hard. Fries average 2 out of 5 stars, not worth $16. Should have had just the burger patties, throw the fries away, and you wouldn't have had hard bread if you didn't order it. And it definitely was not worth $16. I couldn't handle the cost of truck repairs. I'm happy staying a company driver. Good deal, Almond. WCF, cover for tomorrow, of course, because I'm playing around on YouTube, right? So, but that's good. That's good. So, anyways, this is the van hot market map. So let's take a look at reefer. See what we got going on here. Arkansas is also green. Let's take a look at Arkansas on the reefer side. Oh, no. Let's take that back. Let's look at New Mexico. It's green. Let's see what's going on here. $1.32. Ooh, going to California. They are not paying to go to California. Roswell to Del Rio, Texas, $1 a mile. 42,000 pounds. Yeah, I don't think so. Here we go. Roswell to Manchester, Tennessee. 2,500, 210 a mile. Triple T transport. Let's take a look at the load details once it loads. $8.30, picks up $8.30, so got to be picked up within the hour. 34 degrees, 42.3 on the weight. Actually, wouldn't be too bad of a load. It's an 8+ hour posting. I bet you it's probably already gone. Provo says rates are getting better, especially for February. It's interesting. It's kind of like it's becoming bipolar. Like I'm having to check everybody's own boards because there's not much on DAT or 123 as far as like posted loads. And the ones that are posted, the brokers are not answering the phones, they're not answering the emails. And I'll use different emails. You know, maybe it's like, well, maybe it's me. Maybe people don't like me. So I take that into consideration as well. And or it's like insane, you know, well, it picks up at 9 p.m. tonight and delivers at 6 a.m. tomorrow, and it's like 700 miles. You know, a lot of that going on. It's like, dude, I think you got this wrong a little bit. So let's take a look at step deck and flatbed. Look how ugly that looks. All that red and yellow. So guess what? That softens all of this too. So now volume should be picking up soon for flatbed step deck, but I wouldn't count on it too much. It's not going to be enough to rescue your business. So anyways, I'm going to get off here. Thanks for showing up, man. Sorry I was late. 7 to 7:30 is now the window that I start to go live on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Other than that, look, just keep on keeping on. And, you know, look, there are some good areas where the market is actually decent. The weather is, you know, it kind of like made everything kind of screwy. So just be aware of that. And just keep going, man. Just, you know, if things are rough right now, figure it out. That way you can stay in the game if you want to. And this is a normal situation. February is usually slow. February is a time where you're going to have your home time and your vacation and your truck maintenance, that you've been putting off. And that's historically how it's been. It's just since I've been an owner operator, and then my knowledge of what my dad dealt with. I saw the ups and downs with that too. So it's just trucking. That's all it is. It's trucking. And maybe Wednesday we'll go in some more depth with some low board stuff as far as like trying to book and find a load and negotiate and stuff like that. But anyways, Toga says it was nice to see you all again, folks. Peace out for now. And grind and pray, says Snorelord in chat. Y'all be safe. Y'all be easy, safe travels, and have a great day on purpose. There you go. So with that being said, strength for today, hope for tomorrow. Aggression turns the screws. Be smart. Don't be dumb. Later.